All right, guys, welcome back to another episode. This is a review and breakdown of 23.2A and 2B. This is gonna be a longer video, so I'm just gonna walk through one, what I'm experiencing physically as an athlete, and two, give you guys some insight that can help you if you are doing the workout today, tomorrow, or Monday, if you're retesting or what have you, and just seeing if there's some commonality of how we all felt during this workout. So 23.2A was a 15-minute AMRAP of 5 burpee pull-ups, 10 shuttle runs, 25 feet out, 25 feet back is 1 rep, 10 of those, and then we increased the burpee pull-ups by 5 each round. So it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, if you can get that far, 35, in the 15 minutes. And at the end, immediately at the end of the 15 minutes, you are going to go right into a 1 rep max thruster, taken from the floor. You can power clean it, but you must at some point hit full depth of the squat and then press overhead in a push press fashion. There's no re-dipping of the knee. You can take a gather step, but there's some wishy-washiness that we'll get into with the video on what counts as a rep and what doesn't count as a rep, and as there's some clarifications and standards. So as you can see, we are getting ready to start this workout. Repping the full America kit. We have the Ranger panties from Grunt Style. We have some wonderful America stance socks, and we have a beautiful Brian Shaw Rogue America shirt. So, full on America. This workout, in my mind, I always like to dedicate them to a single individual, whether it's a friend or family member, and this one's going out to my grandfather, Mick Absher, aka Pop. This is just a really gritty workout. I served in the Army, I served in the Vietnam War, and this was just giving me that kind of vibe to it. So it was nasty. And for you, Pop, this one's for you. I love you. So getting into this, 5 burpee pull-ups. As you can notice here, I have a 2-foot not step down, but a 2-foot back and 2-foot up. I found that kind of threw me out of rhythm and cadence for my burpee pull-ups. So you'll notice that I do that for the 10, but at some point I switch in the set of 15 to a step back and step up. And this is simply where my feet placement was on jumping up on the pull-up bar. And it was much more efficient. I found a much better rhythm, and I wasn't feeling like I was wasting energy. I just couldn't find a good rhythm for the first 3 to 4 minutes of this workout. With the shuttle runs, I wanted to make sure I was breathing. I wasn't gonna sprint and jack up my heart rate because I wanted to be able to attack the burpees every time I got back to the bar. Excuse me. And allow myself to be able to work very consistently attack. Because, the shuttle runs a little bit over a minute, probably a minute 5, minute 15 towards the back half of this workout. I wasn't too concerned with them. I didn't think it would take away from the burpees other than if I exploded my lungs. As you can see, they're heating up a little bit. We did dish the shirt very early in the workout. So there's a little pause there. I did not feel good on these first few burpee pull-ups. And another thing too is I should have taken my shirt off honestly from the beginning. One, to keep the heart rate down, because as I heat up, if you're in a warmer climate, it's going to definitely affect performance. I didn't want to sweat too much because I didn't have any wrist guards or sweat guards on my hands. And I wanted the shirt to be dry so the barbell on the thruster has something to sit on that's not wet. So I didn't want to worry about any slippage. So the shirt does eventually come back on. But for this workout, for the time being, as you will see here, we're still doing a 2-foot takeoff, and it just doesn't look fluid. I'm not popping up like I want to. Again, I'm trying to think right now in these shuttle runs, how can I change? Should I do a step back and see how that kind of feels? So that's kind of what's going through my mind right now in these shuttle runs. I'm really trying to focus and process my breathing, making sure my feet and my hand are well behind the line, and there's no questions there. As you'll notice from this camera angle, it does look a little wonky. That's because I had to use the 0.5 fish lens. And don't worry, I'm not submitting this video because that's not allowed. This is why I'm at a CrossFit affiliate. Logistically, it just made sense. I could have done it at Prodigy, but I didn't know about the recording because right behind you guys on this video camera is the legit wall, and I don't think I could have recorded it because of this issue here, because I have about the same space from where my judge and the bar is to where the camera is currently, and I needed another 10 feet back. So that's one of the critiques I have on the workout here is logistically for affiliates. You can only have 3 or 4 lanes. If you're a smaller gym, maybe if you have the luxury of bigger spaces, you can have 10 people going at once, maybe 15 people at max with the bar space and the floor space to do it. So I like the workout though. Overall, I think it's a great test. You have a push-pull upper body, you got some cardio. Love to see some running in there. But again, logistics-wise, it's a little difficult. But again, great workout. It was a lot more fun than I thought it was gonna be. The movement patterns were something that, most people can do. It's very applicable to the whole community. Love that. And here we are in the round of 15. I think this is where I start stepping down and stepping up with one foot. Yep. So this is where we start making the adjustment. This is where I found a really, really good rhythm. The burpees do look maybe a little bit slower, but the efficiency in what they were doing to me is a lot more energy efficient. And this is what allows me to have that kick at the end of the workout and really hammer out the last few reps of this workout. So into these 50s, everything's feeling pretty good. It's just finding a good groove, getting in your head and kind of turning off that part of your brain that says, I'm in pain and this hurts. Because this is kind of right around where the workout started getting real. There is no clock that I can physically see, but I do know that we are probably 4 minutes into this workout. Again, each time you do about 10 shuttle runs, it was between a minute and a minute 20, minute 15 maybe. So I know that we're at least 3 or 4 minutes in here with the burpees. But again, finding a good pace. I had my judge, the owner of the gym, Brandon, great dude. He was motivating me through, saying some words to me that kept me going and kept me very conscious of how I was moving and how I needed to not, lower myself to the ground slowly or step up, but have a really good cadence and rhythm. So just having those little mental notes was fantastic to have him in my corner for this workout. Also with the Ranger shorts, I think a shorter short selection is beneficial. I felt very fast and very efficient with my runs. A baggier type of short, it may not seem like a big difference, but in this workout, we're like, when you get into the round of 30 burpees, that's where a majority of the leaderboard is spread for the upper third, upper quarter of athletes. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but if you're trying to separate yourself, one burpee really does matter. If you get back to the shuttle runs, it's huge. So this efficiency, the time save, the energy saver here with maybe a shorter short that you're wearing, ones that aren't baggy and dragging that could take away somehow from your performance in a 1 or 2% factor, it matters. Every rep matters in the open, so I think, equipment-wise and how you dress can have an effect. Overall, after this third set of shuttle runs here, you can see my cadence is starting to slow down a little bit. That is because I knew I had 20 burpees coming up, and I definitely did not want to be fully gassed here. So when I got back from the 10th shuttle run, I felt pretty good. The arms were fresh because they weren't doing any work on the run, really. They were just kind of there hanging out. So the first 5 to 6 burpees felt really, really good on the pulls. After that, things started getting a little more challenging. Reps like 7 through 12 were kind of hard. And then I believe 8 through 20, 12 through 20, so the next 8 repetitions there, we really had to engage the lats and pull a little bit harder than I would have liked. Again, I don't think my jump was as efficient as it could have been. I think it probably cost me, a 1/4 of a second or a 1/5 of a second every single rep. And you add that up over, 60, 70, 80 reps, and it cost me probably 15 seconds in the workout. I don't know if the math is correct on that, but definitely enough time to squeeze out a few more reps, for sure. Just something to note and think about in my training, if this is going to be something in the quarterfinals or something we may see in Invictus, Boston, or Metcon Rush coming up. So those are just things that I'm keying in on and just focusing like, hey, you're not as efficient as you could be. This is where the skill of the sport kind of comes into play and things I just need to dial in and work on. Ultimately, if I'm more efficient, I do the same amount of work in less time with less energy, and that's kind of the name of the game with CrossFit. But overall, decently happy with how we were moving here. Really attacking the burpees, having my chest pumped to the ground, good spring action up. Again, I really think, and I don't know why I switched to a 2-footer here. I think I was trying to really help push my pace, but I quickly went back to a 1 step up, 1 step down. So I don't know why I thought that was the time to do the 2-foot. I don't think it added or took anything away. I think it was just kind of like a waste. So not super happy about that. But again, move through the 20 burpees really efficiently here. And I'm feeling pretty good. The lungs are getting a little heavy. I'm very happy that my calves didn't cramp up. I know some people too were talking about their lower backs. And as you see here, notice how I'm turning, right? So one way I'm turning, my right foot is back, and then on the next one, the left foot is gonna be back. So we're trying to kind of oscillate on what side we're turning and how the body's moving. If you're only turning one direction, you're gonna fatigue one side of your body. So please keep that in mind here. And also too, again, I wouldn't do like a hop into it. I feel like it's the equivalent of doing a burpee jump over of a box or a barbell facing burpee versus like the kind of like the shuffling of the feet over. Kind of here, like watch how I kind of slide a little bit. Just keep in mind the tape might come up, but yeah, if you can slide your feet and kind of move into position a little better there instead of the actual like jump that some people do when they're coming to the edge, I think that'll save you energy and you won't have to rebound and tire out your legs as much. But overall, we're moving well through the shuttle runs. And now this is where the workout truly got real, the round of 25 burpees. Like this is a gritty, grimy part. I think we're at like minute 8, maybe 9 here. So in my brain, I'm like, all right, you're a little bit over halfway, but you gotta start cranking because my brain's already thinking, all right, depending on how these feel and how we finish and how that shuttle run is, your test is gonna end somewhere in the round of 30 burpees and 10 shuttle runs. So that's what I'm thinking right now. And I just gotta know that, okay, come on, we gotta pump through some reps and just find a really good cadence. Suffer, but suffer intelligently. I'm not trying to go all out. I have Brandon telling me, you gotta speed up. And the only thing I could think of is fall faster to the ground and explode up. But as you notice here, after each pull-up, I take like a quarter of a second to breathe right there, step down, and we're back into the next rep. There's no walking away from the bar. There's no stopping to go get chalk. We are just sitting underneath the barbell and having really efficient reps. I was really keen in on where are my feet landing? How am I stepping back? I have chalk in the beginning stages where I put my hands, so where I was consistently placing my hands each time. One thing I would note is I would probably put the chalk prints like a quarter of an inch back more. I think that put me in a better position because my hands did slightly drift back as the workout went on and those burpee pull-ups felt much better. But that's just me. You guys might be more forward depending on how you step up. What's the stride length there? All those factors with different body types. So keep that in mind. But we're coming to the end of these 25 reps. The lungs were burning. We were starting to get quite a bit of fatigue in the lats. The shoulders and triceps actually felt really, really good. When you're not doing, as I say, a push-up, but you're just kind of falling and catching yourself into that position, you're gonna save a lot of tricep energy. There was no issue with grips. I did start to sweat a little bit. This workout was up in Havre de Grace, Maryland, so the weather, it wasn't super hot. Like if you're down in Miami, you're probably gonna need maybe a little chalk in between shuttle runs you need to carry with you. Maybe have sweat guards, but for this, we kind of just went pretty raw with it. Coming to the last bit here, I don't know how many reps of the 25 are there, but we look like we are about to finish based on my body language because we were really in the pain cave here. And I knew I was gonna have to run pretty quick on these shuttle runs. So here we go. This is my last set of shuttle runs here. The focus is, I think I do peek at the clock here just to see, because I knew shuttle runs were gonna take about a minute. I think I had just over 2.5 minutes to do the 30 burpee pull-ups when I got back. So I'm thinking in my head, should I pick it up? Should I sprint? Brandon, my judge, is yelling at me, you have to move faster. And my focus, and I did move quicker because he is yelling at me. This is why I love CrossFit. It's why I love the community feel, because without him, I may have sandbagged this and I would have been really pissed if I didn't do as well at the end as I did. So Brandon, if you're watching this, thank you, boss, for pushing me. I appreciate you and love you, brother. So nice little trot. Not my fastest run you've ever seen, but I would say if we had to match this with my beginning cadence of the 5 burpee pull-up round or the 10 burpee pull-up round, we are somewhere close. Maybe 3 or 4 second difference, but again, we're in that range. We're very consistent with the shuttle run here. Full background, I did play soccer, lacrosse, and basketball, so I think that translated well to this. I've done many suicides, done many shuttle run-esque movements, either in cleats or shoes of some sort. So very familiar. I like to run, I like grimy stuff. This is the one time I did take the chalk because I knew once we get into the 30, there is no stopping. There's no turning back. You are committing to these 30 reps. So quick, just dusting and we're off. I also needed a new spot because my hands were getting sweaty and all the chalk on the floor that I had kind of washed away. So that too was just for the hand placement. So that was the thought process there with these 30 burpee pull-ups. So we're just trying to move. I think around this point right here is like the 2-minute mark before the end of the workout. So looking at these reps, I would look at the clock right about here. and see how long is one repetition taking me. And I think it was between 4 and 5 seconds, right? So 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, about 4 to 5 seconds a rep. And I looked up the clock with about 2 minutes, and I'm like, okay, that is, I'm doing the math in my head. I'm like, what is that? 60 divided by 5 is 12 repetitions. So with 24, I'm like, okay, I'm on pace. But the thing is, I knew in the beginning, the burpee pull-ups felt fresh. In the middle is where we started to get a little hairy. And then towards the end, and that back half of the last like 10 to 8 reps, I knew those 30 were gonna be really hard. The lungs were gonna be blown out, but I was kind of banking off of my conservative approach to really kick and hammer out those last 30 reps. So at this point, I just turned my brain off, and it was drop to the ground and go. And Brandon's yelling at me. I can hear my mom from afar. The energy's starting to go because everyone knows that we're in the last minute of the workout. And I'm like, I can suffer for a minute and I'll probably be okay. This is nothing new. This is nothing foreign to me. This is part of how I've trained for the last month and a half. And we just kind of get after it. I was really happy with the ability to kick, where my fitness levels were at, how the body responded, but we were really trying to pull hard. Like, I was doing some very difficult singles here, man. Like, trying to really get and force that chin to get up to the bar. It was a struggle. But again, the cadence here, we really started picking up to where each rep was now between 3.5-ish seconds to 4 seconds. But I was really, really happy with how these last 30 reps went. And I don't know how many are left here, but I do know that we are coming to the end because my cadence and my sporadicness of the movements is quite high, and this is what happens when you're not breathing as well as one should. 3, 2, 1, and that is the 15-minute mark. So here's the mindset now. My legs are on fire, my arms hurt, took in some electrolytes, and I think I sip on my water bottle a little bit. As you can see, I have my shirt there. We're thinking about getting that on. And I also have my wrist wraps. I'm dealing a little bit with an ulnar nerve issue at the moment. So we're using my wrist wraps to kind of protect that area of my body. So that's the first things first, is to get those guys on. I have 155 loaded on the barbell. I didn't want to go super crazy heavy. So for you guys to base out, thank you, Brandon, for that box. Very smart, intelligent move here. Feeling pretty good, very confident. I was vibing to the music. I recovered pretty well, which I was really, really happy with. At this point, I think I took about 90 seconds between the end of part A into part B before my first attempt. I don't know the exact time frame, but I know I wanted to take a little bit, let the body kind of come down just enough to feel good and confident on those thrusters. The legs felt really good. The reason I started out so light is I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to waste energy, and I wanted to kind of foundationally hit a lift. So we'll look at the number of attempts, how things were feeling, and kind of talk us through that. So no shirt for this one. I don't know what the thought process was here. I guess to let my body kind of cool down a little bit. With 155, I wasn't concerned with the front rack. Just kind of really waking up the legs and feeling how the arms were going to be firing in tandem. So really easy rep. Maybe should have gone up a little heavier to 165, 175, but I believe we called out 190 for my first true attempt. So one warm up at 155, and now we're making jumps closer to 200. For full transparency, the most I've ever push pressed from the blocks is 255. So I'd be very happy with any thruster that is close to my 1RM push press, as that is the standard of the thruster, is to full range of motion, full depth squat, full extension, and then a press overhead with no re-dip or jerk or re-dipping or re-bending of the knees, as some of the standards may not have been upheld, but I'm personally happy with how it went for my own performance. Very good pop out of the hips. Again, strong legs, full extension, feeling great, 190, solid. I think the next one was 225, I believe. I don't know the exact, but 225 I think is where we went next. I think this is the most I've honestly ever done a single thruster for. I don't really test the 1 rep max thruster. It's something I will definitely be doing more in my training, as it shows a couple holes in my game. On the later half, if you can somehow zoom in on the video and see, I'm a little toesy, a little forward, which definitely took away some energy. But again, under fatigue from a 15-minute AMRAP, pretty happy with how everything felt. I wish I had a time or two to see what was the time period between another rep and that one. Felt pretty good. That one moved pretty solidly. I think that was 225, and now we're going 245. So one thing with your judge, if it's somebody you're not familiar with or you're not as audible and loud, is one, speak to them as loud and clearly. Look at them when you're speaking to them. And then hand symbols, 245, 245. Just trying to make everything as transparent and clear as possible with them. For this one now, a little bit of chalk. Again, hands were a little sweaty. The energy's flowing, the heart rate is definitely still up, but we kind of come down at this point. If you've been training and the amount of volume you're doing is adequate and your running wasn't blown up, like seriously, the legs felt so strong. It was just the arms were so blown out. There was so much nervous system fatigue there from the pulling and the pushing that the lats, the chest, and the triceps really started feeling it. Towards the heavier lifts, and it wasn't more of a, I don't think a strength, it really comes down to a strength issue at that point, because we have a lot of good pop here at 245, full extension, and everything felt fantastic. Again, a little toesy, but that's very minor issues and details there. So that was the goal weight that I wanted to hit. I did want to get a few shuttle runs in the round of 30 burpees, so those were my personal goals there. And now I was like, okay, I'm very happy with that. We're 10 pounds under my push press PR. So I called 260. If we're gonna just go for swinging for the fences, why not PR my push press? I know it's not the traditional, like just dip and go from the blocks or from the rack, but in this setting, this is the most I will ever technically push press. So let's go for it. I know 245 is like a 95, 96 percentile for all men in the open. Brandon's trying to give me some cues, man, trying to stay tight. And we're coming down. There's about 7 seconds left here. The barbell's off the floor here. I think the 5-minute mark is now. We did not have enough juice. And there goes the barbell behind me. Simply just pure arm fatigue. Legs, great extension, but there was nothing left. And that's why we just dumped it behind me. So we started the press. It wasn't happening. Very happy overall with how 23.2A and 2B went. So, Brandon, if you're watching this again, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me. Iron Force, love you guys. Very, very warm community feel. Anybody that drops in the Havre de Grace area, please stop by. They are phenomenal, fantastic people. But again, great workout. Love the combination of movements, like the time intervals. I would have liked a little bit more time before I take that 260. I think I needed legit another 60 to 90 seconds to properly recover. So thinking strategy-wise, maybe I opt the 155 and we go right to the 190, and that maybe saves me that extra minute of rest that I'm looking for. As we had 155, 190, 225, 245, 260. So I took 5 total attempts. Maybe 4 would have been optimal if I wanted to hit that number. But again, it's depending on how your body feels. I just wasn't sure, but now I know, and it's good context to have. Yeah. So that is 23.2A and B in review. I want to say thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful CrossFit Open season. As always, peace, much love.